Creative rides, from the classic to the insane.
Right, ladies and gentlemen, let's have an auction. We have it at 145, we have it at 145.55.
So there's a nostalgia, there's an attachment to cars.
I literally grew up as a child running around all of these cars.
It talks to me, this car. My all-time favorite. It really is.
If you're new to the classic car market, this is a great car to buy.
There are very few brands I can say I haven't driven.
Call my insurance company, okay?
We are going to be featuring 24 vehicles that are going under the hammer.
Last call. Sold, sold, sold. Congratulations, so you just bought a Ferrari. As Enzo said, the most beautiful car ever made. Straight 6, Series 2 Jag for 1,150,000. Third and final last call. Sold it at 1,150,000. 1971 280 SL Pagoda Hammers High, 3,555,000. Sold, sold, sold. 3,500,000 rands.
Over the course of the season, we've brought you the finest selections of cars, vans, motorcycles, and off-roaders that went under the hammer at the Creative Rides auction at Monte Casino. So today, we thought we'll bring you a selection of everything, starting with something a little old.
Here we go, the Morris Oxford station wagon, the 1956 Woody. A very rare wooden wagon. You won't see one of these in a hurry. Another road tripper, here we go.
This is a totally different machine, and it looks like when it comes to Mercedes, you're the guy I go to. Wow, what a beauty.
Well, this is what you would call a grand old lady. She's a 1938 Mercedes 170 V Cabriolet, but a very rare right-hand drive. This is a 4-seater, 2-door convertible. There were 794 ever made in the world of this motor car. She was shipped from Germany to Walvis Bay.
Yeah.
Landed in January 1939 for the pricely sum of £600. But you can imagine the stories this car would tell over that period of time.
It's an amazing classic. How many times a week would you drive this? Once a month?
You could drive it every day. It's a little 1.7-litre 4-cylinder motor.
What's the story around this car model?
They did make this car in a sedan, so a hardtop, and then as most manufacturers, the least production would have been in cabriolet. We don't know how many in right-hand drive, but generally, right-hand drive production relates to about 10% of the total number of cars built. It's the only known one in South Africa we're aware of.
Okay.
In fact, I was not aware this car existed, and it turned out it belonged to a friend of ours.
Wow.
So it's been a hidden secret, and we're very privileged to have it offered for auction. We've got documented history on this motor car all the way back from the time it landed in Walvis Bay. The original documentation shows the engine number matching to the papers from 1938, as well as the chassis number, and that would denote what we call a matching numbers motor car. In other words, the engine and the chassis were the way it left the factory. Doesn't say that work might not have been done on it over time, but there's some relativity to value of matching numbers.
For someone who is a car collector, why must I add this as part of my collection?
Well, because in right-hand drive, I would guess there probably aren't 10 or 20 or 30 left in the world. And we must remember that over time, between car accidents, fires, movies, driving them over cliffs, many have died and gone to heaven. And so this is a survivor, and it would make a Mercedes collection incredibly complete. It's going to make somebody extremely happy and very proud.
way back in the 30s, this car was bought for 600 pounds, right? Fast forward to 2024. How much do you think we might get for this one?
So the average price is about $77,000.
Okay.
The highest was sold for $140,000.
Wow.
So we estimate it'll sell anywhere between 900 and maybe 1.3 million rand.
Wow.
Which in the scheme of things with collector Mercedes isn't that great. Unfortunately, it's a pretty good buy for any foreigner.
Okay.
So for a British buyer, 23, 24 to 1, it's pretty cheap.
Yeah.
And many other currencies.
So do you see this one being shipped out?
I hope not, but it probably will get shipped out.
So if you got just over $100,000 and you're watching this come through to the auction, sold in 60 seconds, well, could be you.
This is the oldest car on auction this weekend. We have one of our youngest fans on the stage. It's a 1938 Mercedes-Benz 170 Cabriolet. Full documented provenance on this vehicle from when it came into Namibia, then Southwest Africa, to its current owner. I'd like to thank our client for entrusting us with this absolute beauty. It's a 1938 Mercedes-Benz 170 Cabriolet. The bidding's already started online, ladies and gentlemen. Any of it to go now? 100,000, 200,000, 300,000. At 3, 3, 3, 4, 4, 4, 5, 5, 5, 5, 5. At 500,000, any of it is selling at 5. Any of it is selling at 5. At 55, any of it is selling at 600,000, 65. 700,000. New bid online. 800. Every time that thing flashes green, just tell me. 825 online. At 825,000, any over to go, gentlemen, any over to go, 825. 830 on the phone. At 830,000, thank you. At 830,000, have it, 830. At 830, any over to 830,000, have it, 85, 85, yes or no? Bid stands at 830,000 on the phone. 840, 840,000 now. Hit him high, Gary, hit him hard. Get him in at 900,000. If he wants this car, he needs to bid. Have it, selling at 9, have it, selling at 900,000 now. I need this a little longer. 995. 995,000 on the phone. Fair warning. Hammers high. Once, twice. Here we go, Finny. Third and final call. Hit it. Sold at 995,000. Thank you, my boy. Sold and confirmed, ladies and gentlemen, at 995.
In the end, the 170V comfortably exceeded Gary's estimate. And the good news is this rare pre-war Mercedes will remain in South Africa, with the new owner planning a full restoration.
Ma'am, you bought a lot of cars yesterday. It's his turn today. 1995 Volkswagen Golf Mark IV Cabriolet. This has a VR6 engine in it, 200 horsepower, guaranteed to blow your hair back.
For many years, the veteran, vintage and classics have been the staple for the collector car movement. And in recent years, we've seen the rise of the young timers, the modern classics. These are noticeable for their design, their motorsport pedigree, or their place in pop culture. They're comfortable, easy to drive and safe. Now, coming up next is a car that fits that bill perfectly.
Thank you, Mohammed Zamir Kashif. You already started bidding on this lot. This is BMW M Power at its finest.
If you love yourself cars, you're definitely on the right channel. It is all things cars. Sold in 60 seconds, the name of the show. Kickstarted with the car that I think, Joff, this one. I think I can afford this one. It's a BMW 2011, right?
2011 M3 Frozen. It's black, it's beautiful, and it's dangerous. Only 25 ever brought in the country. This one has too many upgrades to mention. It is believed, as far as we know, to be the lowest mileage Frozen in the country. We've done one before, had high mileage, and there was a bidding war on it. This one has even lower mileage with 34,000 kilometers. Better performance packages on. And here she is.
And I'm just looking at her right now. She's very aggressive. Oof, she looks amazing. Why must I buy this one? Why do I need it as part of my collection?
Rare. 25 in the country. No one really knows how many are left. We're not sure how many have been written off, how many have left the country. We just don't know. So seeing a Frozen Edition is one thing. Having it with this spec and the performance spec, with all the upgrades, with 34,000 kilometers on, you're never going to see it again.
How much do you think we're going to sell this one for?
We are guessing anywhere between 800,000 and 1.5 million. We have our guesstimates. That's our guesstimates. We'll have to see what happens on the block.
The M3 Frozen Edition E92, believed to be the lowest mileage Frozen M3 in South Africa. 34,000 kilometers. These cars are crazy. The 2011 BMW M3 Frozen Edition E92. We have it over bid. It's ready, coming online. 400,000, 555, 600,000 now. At 600,000, the other selling at 65 for possibly what is the lowest Frozen Edition M3 in South Africa. At 65, 55, 55, 55. Have we ever to 7, but have we ever to 7, but now? Have we ever to 75, 770, 800,000 now. 34,000 kilometers indicated on the car, the M3 Frozen Edition. 900,000, 950,000. You'll never find a Frozen M3 with 34,000 kilometers again in your life. Don't find us tomorrow. Don't find us next year. We're never going to have another one like this. 1 million. And a million to go. It's on. One. Any of it. Have it. A million to go now. And 1,050,000. Have it. One. Have it. 1,050,000. 1,050,000. Johannesburg's out. Online is in. Once, twice. Third and final call. Sold. At 1,050,000. You've got it online, sir. $1942 Harley Davidson, sold at 500,000 rands. 69 Holden Monaro GTS, sold it at 750,000 rands. Land Rover Series 1, sold it at 675,000. It's a V12 Lamborghini Espada. You got it. Sold. 910,000 rands. Congratulations, sir.
From Harleys to Holdens, from Landies to Lambos, we've covered the full breadth of the motoring spectrum in the past season. So how do we round off such a spectacular array of vehicles? With the Rolls, maybe? I'll leave the choice up to Savvy.
A V8 Regal Lady, classic and as classy as they come. Third and final call. Do you want it, ma'am? Sold it, you've got it.
Let's take it to the year 1972, 1973. It just looks beautiful. It is a Ford, right?
It is a Ford, yes.
Yeah.
An Australian Ford, if you want to look at it that way. They came to SA as knockdown kits, very popular amongst the South Africans, Australians and New Zealanders. Under the hood, 351 V8, automatic transmission, easy to drive, power steering. The only accessory it doesn't have, AC. I'll be honest, this is probably the finest Ford Fairmont GT we've seen in the shop. She has been fully restored by its current owner. It took him 15 years. What he couldn't source here, he brought in from Australia. To understand the depth of what he's done, bringing in stickers to label it correctly, have all the right parts. This car has a bit of a South African heritage to it. It was owned by a very well-known South African race driver. This car was used as a tow vehicle to get his race car to the track and back. And they were actually known for being one of the best tow cars of their era.
How much you think this one's gonna go for?
This should be north for 1.1.
Wow.
We're hoping for about 1.5.
Yeah.
You think about coming back round all by yourself.
Think it's gonna go to South Africa? It's gonna head out to Australia?
It's probably going to leave our shores.
Are you for real?
I think so.
Do you think South Africans are not gonna fight just to have it stay aside a little bit longer?
No, unfortunately, these cars leave our shores faster than we can say hopscotch.
And until you walked out, you can't come back.
South Africa, you know what you need to do. Let's fight to keep those at home.
Can't come back.
It's all about that money, money, money. The highest bidder is the one that's going to win. Will it stay here? Guess time will tell. So,
Can't come back now. Can't come. The story's over now.
The last and best car on auction in our opinion. 1972 Ford Fairmont GT. This is the best Fairmont we've ever seen. It's just been finished. It was a late entry onto the auction. A globally popular South African icon car, the Ford Fairmont 351 GT. Bidding's already started online at 500,000 now. 500,000 any other 500,000 now. 600,000 at 65, 55, any other 6,500 now. At 6,500 for the Ford Fairmont GT. The best example we've ever seen. 16 years of restoration. There she goes. The only car in the world they let us put a Mustang engine into. Right here in South Africa at 650,000. Any other the last car on auction today. 700,000 at 700, any other 700 now. 775. Back on the phone at 775. 800,000 now. 900,000 at 900 quarter. 1 million at $1 million. At $1 million Ford Fairmont GT. This is definitely a South African record. At $1 million. Any other $1 million now. How much? I heard the first time. $1,025,000 at $1,025,555. No need to shout, Mr. Derrick. At $1,025,555 now. You have it 175, 175, 175. At a 175 and you have it 175, 555 now. At 175 and you have it 175, 55. Are we sure? 1,175,000 and you have it 175, 55. Second call. That's twice at 1,175,000. A South African record at 1,175,000. Third and final call. Hammers high. Congratulations, sir. You just bought a Fairmont. Sold at 1,175,000 rands on the telephone. A new South African record, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of the entire Greater Rights team, our management, our staff, and everybody else, thank you very, very much for coming, ladies and gentlemen. South Africa's greatest and biggest collector car auction is over. We'll see you again, same time, same place next year.
An incredible result for the Fairmont GT and the perfect testament to the meticulous care that went into its restoration. Well, that brings us to the end of this 2024 collectible and classic vehicle auction. If you missed it, make sure you keep an eye on Creative Ride's website for upcoming auctions. From me though, it's time to say goodbye. I think I'm gonna hang out with these cool cars for just a little longer. You could spend all day just drooling over these beauties, but whether you're a serious collector or an amateur enthusiast, the best way to appreciate a classic car is to get in and drive it.
Such a
Let's give it some stick. They were good for about 200 k's an hour in the day. At Creative Rides, we recommend to all our clients, if you're going to own a classic car, drive it.
Yeah.
It's great that it may appreciate as an asset, it gains in value, but it only gains in value if you drive it.
Yeah.
And you've got to get the pleasure out of your money.
Yep.
Puts a smile on your face.
Yeah. You gotta enjoy it.
You've got to enjoy it.
Creative Rides, South Africa's biggest collector car auction event.